And good afternoon. This is the Eye of the Storm podcast with the big picture update, the technical update for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 cash and futures markets. I am going to begin here on the SPX and taking a look at this big picture. It actually hasn't changed. I am continuing to run my alternate count via the cash market. So that's going to be the SPX and the NDX. And need to keep it in place right now, even though I believe the probability scale is getting less and less as this next move kind of pans out. But as I look here on the cash market, the SPX, it remains valid right now. And under this particular alternate view, this alternate count, the SPX remains in the process of tracing out a finishing move. This is still an intermediate C wave up to complete a primary B wave. Now, within intermediate wave C, it will consist of 5 waves of minor degree, of which 1, 2, 3, and 4 under the alternate view are now complete. Now, where this starts to falter just a little bit in my mind is here on the daily chart. This should be the first leg up within minor 5. So it should actually be producing minute wave 1. Now, this on the daily appears to be 3 up. Let me take it down to the 4-hour chart and let's see if we get the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. Possible. But still here you get that ABC nature of this move. So again, we've got to allow this play out a little bit longer. We need to be adding additional segments to it to see if it actually is going to be a minor 5th wave up. So the internals are not actually that strong, even on the 4-hour chart. The 200, both the EMA and the SMA, the simple is rising. The EMA is flat. The 50, the SMA, is falling, just now getting flat along with the EMA. The 20 is flat. If we're building in a rally, these should be following and going. What kicked it into gear was last week's nosedives. And then, of course, what kind of came out of the Jackson Hole summit and what Fed Chair Powell was talking about during his speech on Friday, and basically saying that inflation remains problematic, that additional interest rate hikes will be warranted and are likely in our near future. So again, what the market intends to do with all this, yet to be seen. How it all is going to get factored in, yet to be seen. We continue to work with an alternate view, which would suggest that the S&P first, before it completes primary wave B and then starts to drop in wave C, needs to rise and move above the existing highs, which in the cash market is 4608, 4609. Needs to get above it. All right, so that being the case, let's move back out to the daily chart. And let's first put in, I need to switch this around. We're going to start throwing up some fibs. All right, so I'm going to reestablish fibs for the alternate view. Okay, so what we have here is all that's been exceeded. So what we have left is the existing high, all-time high, at 4818.62. As far as C, actually, it's pretty much lining itself up that we could slide into new all-time highs. Now, again, I am not placing any other parameters around this other than a pure technical based on how it is being labeled view. But I cannot discount or throw out whether this is in play right now, or if it is in play, that it should move above that high at 46, actually that high 46.08, putting in 5 waves, and possibly during that process would move above 48.18, producing an irregular B wave. So that is one potential view. Now, what I also have is I can put in, again, I'm going to put this to that and stick it all the way over here. Now, what we have coming up is we have the first thing, if we're comparing wave 5 to wave 1, and in this case, minor wave 5 to minor wave 1, our first move or our first look is where there is equality, and that happens to be at 45.65 or 45.66. Basis the cash market now, but we already know that minor wave 5 should take out this high at 46.08 in the cash market, which would then take us to our next level, which is 1.618, and that comes in at 47.08. So again, quite a bit of space to put in a strong rally. How it's going to get there, why it would get there, I shrug my shoulders because I actually don't know any catalyst other than what we got coming up at the September meeting of the Fed. So this continues to be active. I'm going to continue to monitor it, but excuse me, the reality is that I believe the probabilities are dropping quickly. Now, I'm going to switch over and go to the S&P, the ES, the futures market, again on the daily, which where I believe we have, this count is my preferred count. And I believe we have finished primary wave B. And that took place, basis the futures market, at the 46.34 high back on July the 27th. And from that point, we began primary wave C down. What's going to be inside primary wave C? 5 waves of intermediate degree. If we're in intermediate wave 1, what's going to be inside that? 5 waves of minor degree. Now, what we have going on thus far, I believe, is we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming down. That's on the daily. Let me bring it down to the 4-hour, because now we're going to be taking a look right in here. So we want to look at this now. How does this all come due, and what is happening inside all of this? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is a very clean 5, by the way. It's a very nice 5. And not labeled minor wave 1. Now, there's been a couple of switches in terms of because of the height of this and what took place, but it's still what I really want to continue to emphasize. It isn't that I'm changing my mind every other day. The market is the one that dictates. The market itself, through the activity, is the one that guides what we're going to do. So while you may go, well, you had the one down here, now you moved it back here, what's up? Nothing. Is that the market made it very clear by going through here, putting that in, and then the liftoff gave more congruence to the fact that, yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please understand that because we're trying to move forward with the count. So all I can do is to say that you must remain more fluid because the market is fluid. we're going to start trading again in a few hours. And can I say right off the bat, gee, what do I think they're going to do on that opening? No. What I can do is tell you what I see and what we might want to expect. Okay, so let's just go on from here. So what we have is minor wave 1, and then we had from that low, and that low was on August the 18th. Then we had an ABC up, and that took us up to August the 23rd. And then we began to nosedive. We began to turn, and we headed strongly lower on the 24th, last Friday. No, excuse me. The 24th, was Friday. Sorry. Sometimes I get a little bogged down in my own mind. Thursday, 24th was Thursday. And we started to drop. And then we had Friday, and we had the Jackson Hole, and that was on the 25th, and that all came in right in here. And so finishing up minor wave 2. And then we start back down again, right? We finished ABC up, minor wave 2, we're now into minor wave 3. What's going to be inside minor wave 3? 5 waves of minute degree. Now, this was a very strong, and it all presented itself as 5 waves, but it ended up putting in another, this all ended up being 1, 2, and 3. This ended up being 4, and then we slid back down to the 5th, finishing, and then rallied back up. So I have marked that low. So Friday's low at 43.65 puts in minute wave 1 of minor wave 3. So we're still, again, I thought here we could be in that wave 2, and I was looking for the wave 2. And it got up to certain levels that got stuck inside of the moving averages, which you can see are still all basically grouped together and really determining what direction are we going in here. So they kind of go flat, and they present a little bit more of a conflicting picture. But nonetheless, let's fill in our own blanks as to where the market can actually come back up to now. If we completed minor wave 2, and then this is minute wave 1 of minor wave 3, then what we want to see is a minute wave 2 of minor wave 3. So we put in fibs, and now we're going to use the retracements, and we put in the retracements from there down to there. What we have is a wave 2, most common, right? Most common, 50 to 62% retracement. Well, what we did on Friday was pretty decent, pretty decent. We got up and almost were getting ready to touch the 4-hour 50. Now I'm going to break this down and bring it down to the hourly because we want to see some of the internal details here, right? Come on. Let me just open this up a little bit. So here was that 3, 4, 5. And then we get 1, if we're looking for 2, A, B, C, is it already? Right? So we on Friday got up to that 50%. So again, the whole thing is 2, not 1. That's not up to there. This whole matter was 1, and so this larger move will be wave 2. We're getting ready. If we continue to move up, our next level would be, again, we should find some resistance at 44.25. That was previous, but we've already exceeded it, but dropped back below. So it remains, as does the 50, as does the 200 EMA at a 44.30 right now. So whether we get up to 44.39, we could put a question mark on that. Because in honesty, I could probably go ABC, minute wave 2. What would that then suggest is that we drop. Again, now I want to make it clear. Remember I was talking about here that if wave 2 was complete, a wave 3 should just start to go and not look back and not stop. And pretty much that's how it started. It was clean. It did it again here. It was clean. A reaction to that dump, but what we were in the midst of putting in what I felt was a wave 2. Got interrupted by the speech, but nonetheless, I think that it has completed a minute instead of a continuation of the possibility that we had ABC, A of minor 2, B of minor 2, and now we're working through a C wave of minor 2. Now, I do not believe that that's going to be the case for the following reasons, because if this was to be a B wave, it came in as 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that completed minute wave 1. So I'm not looking for that larger move, which I was showing last week, which we would be looking for fibs. We would put our fibs from here to here, and those were indicating that we could get a move up to 45.50, I believe it was, or let's just say up to this, and this would be left as ABC A, ABC B. It's a stretch. It is a big stretch, but that's the only way you'd be able to count it if you believe that we're going to continue and head up and have a stronger rally higher. Right now, I actually don't see it. I think this counts better as 5, which means that this ABC is done, and so is minor 2. We will find out pretty quickly. All right, so what can we look for? We can look for it to get, if it's going to turn right from there, as is kind of suggestive if we come back down to that hourly chart, it's kind of suggested that it might do that. We started already to head lower. Now, if we want to think that all of this was just part and parcel to Friday's expiration, which they were already starting to the upside before the speech, that interrupted it. And they just said, no, we still have plans. We're going to close up at these levels because of what we were seeing in Apple, in Google, in Microsoft, in Tesla, in Netflix. So some of the larger players, some of the Magnificent Seven, what really worked against it all day was NVIDIA, which continued to go down. Almost down a lot more than it ended up back at 460. But again, I believe for the expiration. So how will the market come out of all of this? Are we now out of those long positions? Because those are all done. They've all taken the monies off the table and all that gamma's gone. And so now we're starting new and we're going to be working into next week's expiration. Are we, I'm not sure what the market's going to start to factor in on, what the market's going to really begin to focus itself on to look for. I mean, we do have during the week, we have next week, we have on Thursday. So let me just kind of go over what we got. On Tuesday, we have Case-Shiller, there's a home index. We have job openings at 10 a.m. and we have consumer confidence on Tuesday. Tomorrow, we have nothing. There are no numbers coming out. So we could have an inside day or we could have a moving day. On Tuesday, we have a few things. On Wednesday, we have ADP employment, which we know in the past has moved the market. We have the revision for GDP, second quarter. Then we have advanced retail inventories, wholesale inventories. Those are all associated with GDP. And then we have at 10 a.m., we have a pending home sales. Now, it's Thursday where we could really, where the market may be focusing. We have initial jobless claims, we have personal income, personal spending, then we have at 8:30 a.m. PCE. So we get initial jobless claims and the PCE, which breaks down core PCE year over year and core year over year, et cetera, et cetera. Chicago Business Barometer comes at 9:45. So that is something that the market tends to react to. More importantly, on Friday, we have the non-farm payrolls, the unemployment rate, and ISM manufacturing and construction spending. So it's toward the end of the week where the market may derive additional information as to, gee, what direction are interest rates really going to go in? Are we really going to look towards that September's not going to be a pause? That September we're going to get hiked here? And then we're going to see what kind of happens from there. Okay, so what I'm looking at here, even on just for tomorrow, is that if we are going to finish this by finishing the higher levels, then I do think we stand a chance that we're going to get ourselves up to 44.40. Outlier, 44.60. So those levels may come into play depending on how hard they decide they're going to come in and buy whatever it is that they're going to move themselves into. I don't know. Other side of that coin is what I'm counting, and how I'm counting is that the possibility that minute wave 1 is done and my minute wave 2 may be complete, in which case we start to head lower, but it will be of the same magnitude as we saw last week. Okay, over, let's go take a look at the NASDAQs. First, we got the NDX. Over here again, I am also just attempting to work this alternate view, which would suggest that, like the S&P, the NASDAQ also completed its wave 4. Now, here again, because I just counted this out for us, in the futures market, if I bring it down to a 4, this even more so on my 4-hour chart is really coming up ABC. So in the NASDAQ, I'm kind of leaving it there just because maybe we got a surprise coming. I don't know, but this is a very low probability in my mind now. And I do believe that this is all done. And this is minor wave 1 coming down. But I left it here just for update. And if we get an additional signal during the week, like a break below, again, cash market, a break below 14,557 or 58, a break below with some significance, a break towards 14,350, right? So we start to break that 550 level and we start to drop precipitously. Then this is nullified. It will have not yet come in to where it's going to break minor wave 1. Minor wave 1 is way down at 13,200. So, no, I'm not going to be waiting to actually disqualify or nullify or invalidate this particular count for a move down to here. No. I think it comes once we start to break below the existing low right now and we start heading below here. So otherwise, yes, we still have a shot at those highs. I'm just going to go over to the NASDAQ future because that's where I have my preferred count. Oops. And so that's the one that I'm going to update right now. So even on the daily, what we're showing is that we have completed the primary B wave. Now, what I want to start putting back on, because I took it all off so that we could see, is the very broad extensions for primary wave C. So the first one out of the gate is 618. Now, primary wave C would be equal to primary wave A at 9780. 1.618 takes it much, much lower. I actually think that we likely will come in just below, or possibly that's it. We get 100%. But I'd be looking for the B wave. First of all, it breaks that low, and that's more important. So the C wave could come down to here, or maybe a little bit lower. We'll see, because we'll be able to fill in a lot of these blanks as the move itself begins to unfold. We'll go down to that 4-hour chart. Let's open it up. Let's take a look inside. Here it was. We can see minor wave 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Clean. ABC, pretty clean, even though wave A was 5. So it's a zigzag. That's all that is taken. It's a zigzag. But A, B, C, fairly clean. Wave 2 done, and then it dropped. And then this is the one that was more impressive than the S&P. This is the one that just really took it on the chin, and for very good reason. So again, what we got was possibly down to here for wave 3, and then we got a 4, and then it zipped down in a 5 to complete minute wave 1, and we're inside that minute wave 2. Now, it's not as high as the S&P was within it. So I would be expecting the NASDAQ to find some upside targets first before to complete minute wave 2. So I think it needs to, first of all, get itself above 15,049. But then the 50% is at 15,086, and the 62% is at 15,165. And I would like to see an ABC. Don't really have that on my 4-hour. I can bring it down to the 1 hour and take a look in here, and I don't exactly, still don't see it. Although ABC, so I get a little bit of a rise up, get it up into here, possibly is up as high as here. Now, we know it doesn't take much to get the NASDAQ to really kind of scoot and get itself going. So this is where I'm going to leave all of that. This is where I'm going to put it out there and open it up. Now, again, NASDAQ needs to take in a lot of information and reconfigure or reassess or redetermine how all of that's going to affect each of these companies. We're seeing, NVIDIA was from $519 on Wednesday to, I believe, the low on Friday was, I can't think, I thought 454, somewhere around in there, maybe even lower. My mind is not actually giving me the benefit of that doubt. And I think that's all been cleared away. Maybe it has not. These are the 52. Oh, okay, they haven't cleared it out. NVIDIA on Friday got down to 450. So right now we see that they closed it out it was quoted lower in that last hour between 4 and 5 East Coast time. So how they want to begin, again, not sure. But we need to allow for the completion of this wave 2, the minute wave 2. Otherwise, this is going to come in pretty weak. Now, yep, it exceeded 3A2. I'll give it that, and it's going to have a problem at the 50, which is at 15,041, and then we have the SMA, the 50 SMA at 50,069. We have resistance at 15,086. Then we have actually the 200 SMA is sitting down here at 15,000 or 14,995. And the 50 is at 14,987. So it's kind of resting right below those. But I suspect it should be able to break those and keep going and then get stuck again up in here between the 200 EMA and the 50 SMA. And then we have more resistance. So again, moving averages, I think, are going to, on an hourly chart, going to provide some stronger resistance to an upside move. NASDAQ in the past sometimes treats that like it's nothing, and just kind of blast right on through it. We'll see what can happen. So ultimately, technically, the market still has upside potential. Even under the preferred count, the market still has some upside potential before, again, turning and swinging lower. Technically, the market's going to hang its hat on what comes out later in the week in terms of economic data. And so they'll be on Thursday and Friday. So what it does in between, I think tomorrow and even starting this afternoon, once Globex opens, I just think we get the position adjustments because now everything's been tallied and all of the exercise notices have been delivered. And so people now realize that was I too long coming out? Am I too short? And they need to make adjustments on the opening here so that they're ready for tomorrow. And then, of course, Asian markets and the European markets get to leave their footprint on what they think the U.S. should or should not do. And again, once European markets open, any additional news that comes out will be filtered back in. So that's basically the update, the big picture update. Most of these markets is continuing to just be very reflective, is that the primary wave B is complete. The primary C wave is in progress, initial stages. And we're just going to be counting, I am going to be counting it in that respect. All right, that's going to be it for today. Again, Globex opens in 2 hours and 15 minutes. But what I've given here on my hourly chart is going to serve for that opening, unless there is something drastic that happens on the opening in 2 hours and 15 minutes. The next update will be the Elliott Wave update, and that will be on Monday, August the 28th.